So I have been world building since elementary school. I just told myself story after story after story, and for some reason I just needed them to all play in the same universe. I just kept adding new countries, new races, continents, magic systems, genres, themes, aesthetic, etc. So as you can imagine, it became quite a mess. And this month I dedicated myself to untangling said mess by building a Wikipedia on Notion and kind of trying to get all of the elements of my story and lead them back to just one big lie. The big lie concept, I don't know who came up with it. I did like 5 minutes of research before giving up because I had quite a lot on my plate this month. I hope when you see the Wikipedia, you know where most of my time went into. I also started drafting the story. For those uninitiated, this whole video series is about me taking you along for the ride while I write my high fantasy military horror MSV shelter. So I started doing that. Hopefully at the end of this month I've already written 50,000k. So that's a lot, and that's why the video is getting the short end of the stick. Anyway, let's get back to the concept of the big lie. It's a writing tip that I just saw floating around, and that's just that every author is allowed like one big lie to suspend the audience disbelief. They have to buy into this lie, okay, this is reality, and everything else has to organically grow out of it. Yeah, I've tried searching for that in my world, and so I just went through all the stories, through all the ideas, and tried to crystallize out of it everything that needed to be in the world, like all of the goddesses, for example. I'm not interested in gods for some reason. Like, my sketchbook is just filled with horrible mother figures, like larger than life mother figures, and all of my countries are very landscape and aesthetic specific. And they all have like their own ecosystem, their own magical system, and their own theme, their own aesthetic, their own genre. And it's not just high fantasy, I also have urban fantasy stories, so I need Earth to exist as well, and I need a sci-fi setting. Also, I don't want to have to make a map because I'm terrible at it. I tried it a bunch of times and it just didn't work out, so it should look like Earth as well. So I went through all of that and just decided to make my one big lie the creation myth of Gua. Two lovers found each other in the vastness of space. They gave each other names, Gua, the All-Mother, and God, the All-Father, embraced each other tightly and decided to make a child. Gua lay down her body for God to mold, but she despised what he made. They fought over everything, from the masses of lands to the fins of a fish, until God embraced Gua once more and did let her go. He bound her and she bucked her hips, shaking loose mountains but not herself. God kept her bound and ever pregnant, grabbing and tearing at her body as he shaped her to his will. With her body scarred and twisted, Gua kept fighting, and one day she freed a hand. Before God could bind her again, she ripped out her womb and it landed on her barren stomach. Out of it she shaped her first own creation, Ishtar, a woman as tall as a tree, crimson-skinned and vain. Ishtar took on many names as she traveled the land while hiding from God's watchful eye. She mated with man and animal to birth demons and turned idle men into workers. With an army she reached the city of Babel, which was cursed with dryness. So she herded the clouds and made it rain. Babel became a fertile paradise under her reign, and in return man built her the Tower of Babel, a ladder to the heavens. God found Ishtar in the tower and sent angels to confuse the language of the workers. But Ishtar lifted the curse by writing 8 clay tablets to guide the tower's construction. When the tower stood finished, she rose up the ladder to battle God. The war raged on for 100 years and split the world in two. When Ishtar was about to land the final blow with her scythe, God fled to earth. As he closed the rift between them, Ishtar reached out and a piece of her finger went with him. This scar in the universe turned white, shining down on Gua every night as the great Milky Way, a way between worlds. It is foreseen that the scar will rip open and merge the worlds once more, bringing upon us the apocalypse. After Ishtar won the war, she ripped the shackles off her mother, and together they parted Gua's flesh to build the Mother Saints. Her hips freed themselves first and thrusted into the sky, raising Stradania, Mother Saint of the mountains. Her brain wove into waves and formed Aphrodite, Mother Saint of the seashore. Her skin cracked and became Brittle, Mother Saint of the earth. Her stomach boiled over and erupted into Futusurui, Mother Saint of volcanoes. Her black blood dripped into the sky, shaping Aiperi, Mother Saint of the moon. Her legs and feet found the path and walked until they wore themselves down into Giulia, Mother Saint of roads. Her ears held tightly to moss and tree until they grew into Kinex and Kiona, Mother Saint of the jungle. Her mucus ran together and congealed into Shlamsham, Mother Saint of the swamp. Her bones sharpened and bolted together into Shiloma, Mother Saint of the deep sea. Her lungs filled themselves with air and expanded into Lumhaichi, Mother Saint of the sky. Her mouth sealed itself and her blackened lips turned into Machal, Mother Saint of the desert. Her teeth shaved the soft snow and froze into Balan Maa, Mother Saint of ice. Her eye floated past the clouds and burst into Okokanya, Mother Saint of the sun. Her hand softly touched the grass and bloomed into Karekmam, Mother Saint of the fields. Then they ripped out Gua's heart and twisted it into Mutta, Mother Saint of the mist. Gua's empty shell sank into the earth and wrapped around Gua's core as she watched her daughters reign over their domains. The Great Reclamation lasted another 100 years, in which the world trembled and shifted under the crafting hands of the Mother Saints, as the daughters shaped Gua to their mother's will. So this was a lot more faux feminist than expected, but I'm not complaining because, I don't know, I just like using archetypes. I'm not really here for hyper-realistic hard sci-fi or hard fantasy. Does that even exist? Where you explain how the biology of a fantasy race functions. So anyway, let's go to the wiki. I want to show you all the stuff I made. Alright, so we start back at the main page, the beautiful, beautiful main page, and we go down here to world building. Here we can find, if it loads, the shortcuts to all the things that we need for my story. So let's go to the homepage of Gua. So here's the list of contents. We've got a short history with the creation myth up front. I don't think this is the updated version. I have to do that still. And just the other great stories of Gua. All the big stories that I've been telling myself since childhood. It was a crazy experience trying to condense them all down into these little paragraphs, especially the Great War of Queens, which is the big story that I want to tell. All other stories are basically just, I don't know, training wheels. Okay, so we've got a short history from the beginning to the rise, to the fall, to the death of Gua. Got a bit of a to-do list here and the 13-month calendar. So I created a calendar for my world. It was very quick because I just meshed the Mesopotamian calendar with the 13-month calendar. Yeah, basically we have 30 months instead of 12, and every month has 28 days. A week still has 7 days. 12 times 28 is 364. So we have one extra day, and I decided to call that the New Year's Day. And of course, every 4 years we have 2 New Year's days. And so that it doesn't fuck up my system, it is basically outside of the calendar. It doesn't have a weekday, so that I can start on Monday in January again. And the months have kept their Mesopotamian names, and the days also have kept their Mesopotamian names mostly, except for Aisa and Ishtar. Aisa is the daughter of Ishtar, and Ishtar kind of forced the people to give her sacrifices on Aisa as well. They're not very happy about that, but we can maybe get deeper into that later on. And Ishtar is basically our Sunday. For us, it's a holy day. Back in the day, it was more seen as an evil day, where you had to make sacrifices to the gods to keep the evil away. And I really like that idea, so I'm going to keep it. And now to the Mother Saints, kind of the foundation of my world. I'm very happy with those. A few of my pictures have made it. Boloma does not look like this, but I didn't bother to go through my sketchbook and find her sketch. I love them. I don't think I'm going to add anybody. I wanted to add one for hair as well. Afrolaris was supposed to be the goddess of hair, but because she's kind of, her themes are about habits and like the cyclical nature, repetition, and I thought just brain was a better body part for her, so I exchanged that. But now I don't have anybody with hair, but I don't know, maybe it's not important. So we've got the other deities. These are Aisa and Soben, kind of function like Mother Saints, but they are not real Mother Saints or aren't seen as that. Then we've got Gu and God, obviously. Now to the Motherdoms. I don't know if I've explained it well enough, but the Mother Saints, they reign over domains, and these domains aren't continents or something like that. They're just landscapes that can be everywhere. Like Ishtar, for example, has her one domain in the Near East, and she's got one in South America and Australia. But then we have the Motherdoms, which are basically just countries, and they are in these domains. For example, here, Batala Loka and Teotlan are both in the domain of Lumhaichi. Then we've got the cities, continents. They are very basic, like Midlands, Westlands, Southlands. Yes, very creative, I know, but I think I have enough words floating around, so a reader would, I think, be glad to have something so easy. Then we've got species and races, the Mother Saints right up here, the oddities, which are going to be the main race we are going to meet in the story of MSV Shelter. Demons are also Babylonian creatures, but they've been mostly extinct or gone to hell, or are hiding out in the mountains, so we are not going to meet any demons. Other races that we are going to meet, our main character is a Rasun. We've got a Duce, an Uluchup, a Haitian, and a Bergman. Okay, so historical figures. This was so much fun to do, just putting faces to all the characters. The first idea was to maybe have one actress for all the Uluchup women, the major Uluchup figures, but then I couldn't add Kate Blanchett and Claire Danes together, so I threw that idea out, and I like this a lot. I mean, they all look very similar nonetheless, and are kind of acting like reincarnations of themselves, even though they have very different characters, and they all represent a different era in Uluchup history, like the beginning of Uluchup, the rise and the fall with our Joan of Arc character here. These are very important for Brickworks, our Mother Saint of Brickworks and the first queen, and obviously our Babylonian historical figures. My baby Haitian. My current basketball obsession has also made it into my world. He's going to destroy it all. It's going to be fun. Yeah, and Queen Anatu, she's also going to play a more minor role in this story and the books that I'm having in this world. So let's take a quick look at all the templates I've created. Ishtar, a quick description. We've got her domain, the wind, Gua's body part, womb, her main emotion, lust, theme, fertility, related themes,
sexuality, productivity, farming, and work ethic symbols. The scythe reed, the golden nail, which is going to play a major role over on Earth, because that was the one that went with God. And clouds. Special abilities, herding clouds, flying, mating with any species, and sucking the energy out of people. Now we've got a quick history. This part was amazing. I think I stole this from probably World Anvil, but I'm not quite sure. It's sparked so many ideas. We've got the crimson flakes, which are very important artifacts of her, that those are just parts of her body spread over all the worlds and kind of connecting them. The golden nail, which is going to become the holy grail over on Earth. Yeah, her scriptures, the labor directive, very sexy name for a book. Divine symbols, like I said. The tenets of her faith. I would love to add some actual phrases here. For now it's just ideas, but maybe while writing the story I will come up with some. Divine goals, she doesn't really have any, and she's dead at this point in the story anyway, so her template was really just important to figure out the psyche of the people, because she created the land and she's kind of the only parent of the household. She forms and shapes the beliefs and the habits of the people of the land. Yeah, we've got holidays, like I said, on Ishtar. They still sometimes sacrificed her, even though she's dead, because they love her. And relationship with believers. And here on the side, we've got the races she created. The vampires and the Lilin aren't on Gur, they're on Earth, but I put them here anyway. And the Motherdoms and territory. Heaven and Hell and Babylonia. Okay, let's go over to her daughter. I guess I can do this quicker here. Aisa. She birthed Aisa, a demigod. And Aisa. Yeah, it's basically set up the same way. She's the creator of the oddities. Her domain is the rain. Her emotion is anger. Theme is toxicity. Related themes are isolation, poison, and matricide. Symbols is oil. I don't have anything else for now. Maybe I'll add something later. And abilities is just creating toxins and poisoning everything around her. So her artifacts is Aisa's mace, which she still carries, and her crib. There's a sect that is guarding this crib, and we're going to see those in the Babylonian template. Divine symbols, tenets of faith. Again, no actual phrases, except for Mother Never Changes. Her divine goals, holidays, relationship to believers. The Babylonians hate Aisa because she's the one who turned their fertile paradise into a toxic wasteland. And she hates them, so it's a mutual relationship. She's not a very involved Mother Saint. She reigns over Babylonia right now, but we don't really get to see her. And she just waits in her place, waiting for people to come and try to kill her. Because some Babylonians believe that if she's dead, that Babylonia will return to being a paradise. Then let's go over to Babylonia. Dun, 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 dun. I've got a little flag here. You can really see how shit I am at line art. Again, a bit of description. And the founding date, dissolution date, Mother Saint's location, climate, owning rank, capital, denonyms, area, population, government, all those fun things. And again, history. I have split all the histories of the Motherdoms into before the Mother Saints changed the whole landscapes, then what happened during the Holy Reclamation, and kind of afterwards, then the rise of the Motherdom, the fall of the Motherdom, and the death of the Motherdom. I think it's very important to know how something ends, like the whole world, for example, so you can really work towards it and to know where on that timeline your story is placed. We've got government and economy. I'm very bad at those. I never paid attention at school, and I don't know. I'm just very bad, so I just did a bit of research, and because the whole theme is work and fertility for Babylonia, I thought it would make the most sense, and I tried to keep those themes running through every aspect of the motherdom. I'm not going to go into depth with this. I have recorded another version of this where I just went through every single detail, but I don't think anybody would want to watch this because it would be 4 hours long. Here also try to list out all the problems that I already see just for fodder, for conflict fodder in a story that is based in Babylonia. Economy, import-exports, and here we've got the sect of the cradle. Those are people that still believe that Aisa will one day change and become a great mother saint. They protect her cradle and believe that one day she will return and grieve her mother and cleanse the rain of all the toxins. And then we've got the children of matricide. They are oddities who have given up on Aisa and believe that if they kill her, paradise will return. So they are out trying to find and kill her. Then we've got the Undercity Queendom, which is going to be important for this story. They live in the Undercity of Babel, the capital of Babylonia, completely isolated from the rest of Babylonia and under the reign of Queen Anatu. And then we've got the Overcity allies. They also live in the Undercity, but they rebel against the Undercity Queendom and want to merge with the rest of Babylonia. Then we've got magic. So magic in my world is just the ability to fight against scientific limitations. It is only gifted to the Mother Saints who do with it as they please. Or sometimes not. Like some of the Mother Saints can control their magic, some can't, some don't even use their magic and just give it all away. Depends on the character. Then we've got the culture. Again, these are basically just ripped off Ishtar because they still love Ishtar and see her as the real Mother Saint, and Aisa is just the imposter, which is true because Aisa killed her mother and took over the land as a tyrant. And she did a very bad job of leading, a very, very bad job. Then we've got kinship, how family is defined, and I love the kinship in Babylonia because it's a harem system. The children are immediately put into orphanages and then into working camps, and so they aren't the typical blood-related family, but there are the guilds. The whole of Babylonia is built out of guilds. And harems. A very rich person, for example, has a lot of people in their harem, which they take care of and give gifts to. And all these people in the harem are of a slightly lower class than them. And they also have their own harems. So it's kind of a pyramid that goes down. And they all take care of the lower classes. So it's not really just a sexual thing. It's not even mostly a sexual thing. It's more a status thing. Then we have sex and gender. It's very equal down here. Gender is not really a concept in Babylonia. It's more about the reproductive organs, and fertile people have a high standing while infertile people are kind of looked down upon. Homosexuality is okay as long as you also reproduce. Then we've got the naming convention. Naming convention, religion, how they view and deal with death, and how they deal with money, nature, and races. And in the end, we've got a bit about the military, which they don't have. That is a big plot point in my story. We have the races, the main races of Babylonia here, and the cities. I only have one for now, and the locations. I had planned to also fill out the template for Babel, but I didn't have the time. It has a little flag here. I managed to create a history and talk a bit about the architecture, but the rest is not filled out, which is sad because that could have really sparked some ideas, I think. But let's go over to the other motherdom, Brickworks. First, to Brittle, the mother saint of Brickworks. Yeah, it's basically set up the exact same as Ishtar's. I love just putting actresses there. It immediately gives me a character for them. So Brittle's domain is earth, Gua's body part is skin, her main emotion is fear, her main theme is protection. Related themes are the military, tools, walls, and loyalty. Symbols are bricks, walls, battlements, and clay. And her special abilities is that she has impenetrable skin, builds indestructible things out of clay. Then we've got here the motherdoms. No, that's wrong. This is the species. So, you've got a species, the gargoyles, motherdoms, scritti, and Brickworks. This was an amazing template to fill out because I didn't really think about Brickworks. Brickworks is a very, very young motherdom for me. I've only came up with the concept of it like 2 years ago, maybe. I only really knew that I wanted it to be the United Kingdom and Ireland. And I wanted it to just be all red bricks, British industrial buildings kind of stuff. And I also knew that I was going to use skin, the body part, and I thought of clay and golem and protection. It just kind of all came together. We still have religion with the artifacts, the Holy Scripture, divine symbols, the tenets of faith, and her divine goals, which she actually has kind of a goal. It's a very rough one, but she does. And she will survive until the end of the world, which Aisa is definitely not. She's one of the first Mother Saints to go because nobody likes them. Holidays. So I think I forgot to say this in the calendar section. Sunday is called a different name in every motherdom, so it's named after their mother saint. That's, of course, in Babylonia it's called Ishtar, in Brickworks it's called Brittle, and so forth. Okay, so let's go over to Brickworks, full page. Also a little flag here, a little description, how it changed over the times. The official language is actually not Bricktongue, which is kind of their language, but Ulutafot, which is the language of the Ulukhub, because the Ulukhub are kind of the reigning class in Brickworks. Brickworks is a military government, and since their founding in 819 GG, they always had Ulukhub leaders, because in the clay tablets of Brittle it is said that no brickworker is allowed to lead their country. That's why the Ulukhub are leading it, because they are kind of the most respected race on Gua. So we've got a few cities, military units, which is important, the economy, which is not filled out at all. And here I only have one ethnicity, the Golem conspiracy. This was a major revelation for me. I think I have a video clip of me after I figured this out, so...
Flashback.
Okay, I just worked on the Brickworks motherdom template and on the section on ethnicities, Jesus Christ, and they're called the Golem conspiracy, and I just had this idea for the whole story I'm working on right now, because Brickworks has many Trockenheil immigrants, which is a highly patriarchal society. They are imported as leaders. Okay, there's an ethnicity called the Golem conspiracy, and they believe that Brittle didn't get fed all the names of all the people, but just the names of the brickworkers. It's just a nationalistic movement, basically. It was split into two for a long time, like the isolationists who no immigrants, etc., and then the expansionists who are like, okay, we are meant to rule over the world and to lead ourselves, etc. They were kept quite weak because of this divide, but then around the time of the story of MSV Shelter, they get like a savior kind of leader in Felton Coup. The name is a bit on the nose. It's COUP. Anyway, and he's kind of a Mother Saint abolitionist. He doesn't want to follow Brittle anymore as the Mother Saint, and has taken over the god worship of Trockenheil. Trockenheil is one of I think the only motherdom who doesn't worship their
Mother Saint and instead worships God, like the god of Earth, because they have this connection to Earth. And they inherited that from another motherdom, but this motherdom then started to worship their Mother Saint again. So it's at this point in the world, they are no longer anti-Mother Saint, but Trockenheil is still a Mother Saint. So anyway, Falkenku, I'm so sorry. Falkenku united them all under his like expansionist view, goal. So under him they started to infiltrate the whole government and all the high-seated positions. A lot of them were filled with Trockenheiler anyway, so they didn't even have to convert them because they already worship God, so they just had to make them join the Golem conspiracy. And the main villain, what I wanted to say is the main villain of my story is a Trockenheiler. I was always like, okay, he's just following orders, he's like the reasoning why his boss wants to do this, it doesn't have to make any sense, like it won't become part of the story anyway. But now I have this whole machination behind all of what is happening here, because it is definitely like an expansionist move that they are trying in this story. Yeah, and it's just great to put this story into a wider context of the world, because I just thought, okay, it's just going to be like a small story just to explore how Babylonia looks at this point in time, after the rain started falling and all that. But now it's this whole thing.
End of flashback.
We've got magic, which again none of the Brickworkers have, except for the gargoyles. The culture, again, these are just the philosophies taken from the Mother Saint. We've got the kinship, how the family works, and in Brickworks it's a much more traditional kind of family, and it's become more traditional during the time that this the story of MSV Shelter is set. We've got sex and gender, and how here's kind of a bit of a history, and this is how it works right now. Naming conventions, religion, how death is used. I actually came up with this while writing, and it's a bit disgusting, but I like it. I love cannibalism and kind of using the body as fodder for the world. You know, skinning, cannibalism, using it as fertilizer, etc. I love that. How they use money, how they treat nature and other races. And the military units, very important. Here we have the Brickworks military during the time of the story. And maybe I could actually. What's the name of the leader of Brickworks called again? The general, the Queen General. The military is built up like the British military, with the Army, Air Force, Special Forces, Navy, Marines. Yeah, the Special Forces being its own section. Then we've got the BSO and the BVO, which will, and we have more than that, but those are the ones that will play a part in this story. And all the ones with color are the ones that are going to appear in the story, with our main characters here, the Troop 1, the Reapers, and the enemies, the Breezies. I actually have a lot more names now that I could fill out, but I'm not going to do that now. And we have the MSV Shelter. I just took a modern British submarine and kind of stole their stats and put them here. Again, a short history. The MSMP, which is kind of a united Gua defense force under the reign of Brickworks, which Babylonia is not a part of, and that's also a plot point in this story. And we've got a few important rooms that a lot of the story is playing out in. Yeah, and that's all that I have for now. Maybe I can fill out a bit more of the Babel template, but I don't think I will. I need to edit this and put this up tomorrow.
Okay, so I hope you enjoyed the video. All the dates for the future videos should be scrolling on right now. If you have any constructive criticism, please put them into the comments. Yeah, this video wasn't well planned or executed at all. It's I hopefully have a lot less on the plate next month, and I'm going to put that effort back into the videos. Okay, but I hope you enjoyed it nonetheless, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!